Hey Flosstube! Welcome to my channel. Today is Monday, October 2nd, 2023, and I am here with Flosstube number 10. My name is Lynn, and this is my channel, Those Missing Stitches, all about cross stitch. I am here today to give you some whip updates. I do have a new start. I have a couple of pattern hauls, and then I have a giveaway winner from the last video, which is a piece of fabric from my shop. I'm super excited. October just is like my favorite month of the year. It's the kickoff of the holidays, my favorite season. There's all these activities and festivities and things going on. I'm just super excited about this season and what's going to be happening, and hopefully some great things happening with my stitching too. So let's start with my whips. So as usual, I'm going to start with my focus piece, which has not really been my focus piece for a while. This is the Grand Library. This is the regular size max color version of this chart. The artist is Amy Stewart, and it's charted by Heaven and Earth Designs. I am stitching this one on 18 count 2 over 1 full cross, Easy Guide Ada. And this is where I was when I showed it in the last video. I'm currently working on the romance section. And I took it out of the Q-Snap because a couple people at the local stitching group had said they want to see it. So I brought it with me, but I folded it up just to show you the section I've been working on. My plan, here's where it was, on my last video, was to have a 2-page finish by the end of October. Obviously, I'm nowhere near there. I think I had about 6,000 stitches to go in this 2-page section to get there. I did 723 since my last video. So nowhere near what I need to do. I think I'm just really burnt out on my approach to how I'm stitching this. So I was doing 2-page sections, and I was I was basically doing color blocks by, or like by stitch count color combos. So like anything over 200 colors I would pull first and get those done first. But then that left like towards the end. Now I'm on everything that's 50 stitches or less. And there's still, 5,000-ish stitches to do in 50 stitches or less. So there's like 200 colors still. Maybe not that many, but a lot to pull. And I get just over the color changing. So I pulled it out of the Q-Snap thinking I might be more motivated if I move on to another section, maybe change my approach, maybe do something that's like, do the highest color and then do like 3 or 4 of the lowest colors just to get some of those out of the way. I just think I definitely need to switch it up because I do still want this to be a focus piece. Having said that though, like I remember my goal for 2023 was to get to 35% on this, and right now I'm at 175,515 total stitches for 43.58%. So I've definitely beat that 35%. It'd be really awesome if I could get to 50 by the end of 2023, but I do want to keep in mind, like, this is the busiest season of the year. I don't have a lot of time. I've already beat my goal of getting to 35%. I'm totally okay if this doesn't get a lot of progress on it in the next 3 months. So we'll see. I do think I'm going to change it up, though, and just try something different and see how I like it. So that is the Grand Library. Next, I have Fruits of Plenty. This is by Modern Folk Embroidery, and I am stitching this one on 25 count Silvery Moon Lugana, 1 over 1 full cross. This is where I was in the last video. And then I am using the called for DMC colors on this. Here's where I am now. I'm working some of the darker blue and getting some of those outlines done, so then I can go back and fill in some of the actual detail. Do still really like working on this one. It's slow going, but not bad. Since my last video, I put in 605 stitches, and in total, I'm at 11,063 stitches for 23.34%. Next, I don't think I've pulled this out in a couple months, is, so I did try to do a little bit on it this month. This is Kingdom of Books. The artist is Andriana, and I purchased the physical chart from Charting Creations. This one I am stitching on 18 count Nutmeg from my Vintage Needle Arts on Etsy, and here's where I was the last time I showed this, which I think was a couple videos ago. And then let me pull this off here a little bit. Here is where I'm at now. I just filled in some of the brown on this book at the top and the bottom for an additional 160 stitches. In total, I have 5,250 stitches for 7.65%. And again, if you've never seen my videos before or seen me show this before, the original pattern has some Russian titles for some of the books, and I plan to change the titles to my, I think there's 12 total, like my top favorite books, if I can fit the titles into the section. So we'll see. I already know what books I want to use, but I just have to see where I can fit them. This one's a super thin spine, so I'm not really sure what would fit in there, but so I may have to get creative with that, but that's a long way to go before I get to that point, so we'll see. Okay, next is one I haven't pulled out in a while either. I feel like let's see, since my last video, I didn't do a lot, but I worked on a lot of pieces a little bit. So this one is A Farewell to Anger. This is the regular size, regular color version of the chart. The artist is Leonid Afremov and is charted by Heaven and Earth Designs. I am doing this one on 28 count Easy Guide Lugana, and here's where I was the last time I showed this particular piece. I put in an additional 411 stitches, and in total I'm at 6,809 stitches for 2.64%. Here's where I'm at now. I really just kind of filled in some of the green. So that is Farewell to Anger. Next is another one of my favorites, and I didn't work on it at all last month, so I was really missing it. This is Night Circus Lovely number 7. The artist is Jessica Jackson and is charted by the Sewing Shop Inc. I am stitching this one on 25 count Easy Guide Lugana. I'm doing this one 3/110 stitch, which is a little different. It's getting a little tight, but I like how full the coverage is. So I keep continuing with the 3/1 for now, and we'll see as I get into the lighter colors if I want to make them 2/1 just to give me a little more room. So here's where I was the last time I showed this. I did pull this one out of the Q-snap because I am going extreme cross country with this one. I finished all the 310 and the 939, and now I'm on 3371, I think, which is like a dark gray, or 3379. It's a dark gray. So I pulled it out so you could see I'm kind of working all over the place. Filled in a little by her mouth and on her cheek and then down her neck, and it's starting to fill in across her sleeve and a lot of that bottom corner area down here, and then a lot of the top corner up here will still be in that 37.99 or whatever it is. Dark gray. So that's where I am on that one. I do love this one still, so I'm hoping to work on this and have this more regularly in my rotation, even though she kind of got forgotten last month. So glad to have her back out again. That is Night Circus Lovely number 7. My next one was really what I worked on. Oh, I forgot to say. My total number of stitches that I did since my last time that I showed this, actually in September, was 1,355 stitches, and in total on that piece I'm at 31,252 for 19.63. So it's going pretty quickly. We'll see once we get into some of those lower numbered stitch counts. Okay, now my next piece. Very excited about working on this one because it is kind of the creepy Halloween vibe. So coming into the season, I was a little more motivated to work on it. So this is the Haunted Library. The artist is Lola Crow Cross Stitch, and I am stitching this one on 18 count fiber on a whim, milk and honey, 2/1 full cross. Here's where I was the last time I showed it. I was getting really excited the last time I showed it because of all the red and getting into some of the colors. Since my last video, I put in 5,970 stitches, and my total now on this whole piece is 12,099 for 71.61 stitches, and I absolutely love it. So filled in the rest of the bookshelf, everything over on this side, and then I'm worked my way down and I'm working my way over. I'll eventually move. That's kind of where my Q-snap cuts off now, and then I'll work my way over to the left-hand side, and I'll have back stitching, and I'll be done. I don't think I'll have it done by Halloween. I don't quite have that lofty of a goal, but if I can get the momentum I've had in the last week or so on working on this, I probably did about 3,500 stitches on this in the last week or so, but I did have the stitching group meetup that a lot of my focus was, this is all I brought with me. So got a lot done during those meetups in the last week and a half. So, but I do think this one will probably be my focus for October, just because I like the Halloween and the creepy stuff for the season. Lola Crow also did just announce that she's going to have a creepy Christmas ornament, like Gothic Victorian village ornament stitch along that's going to be, I think pre-sale is this week, and then I think the stitch along starts in December, if not November. So I'm definitely signing up for that one. Whether I'll keep up is probably a resounding no, but I still want to sign up for it and at least try. So check that out if you're interested in Lola Crow. Okay, my next piece is actually for a stitch along. It's called Mugshot Villain Stitch Along by Abby Sue Designs. It is a current stitch along that so far just the frame of the villain's piece has been released, and then the first villain should be released at the end of this month. I am stitching this one on 18 count. It's called Epically Evil Fairy Godmother. It's a color I created just for this stitch along that is available in my shop to anyone. And I've finished the frame, so I'm actually caught up, so that at the end of this month, when the first villain is released, I can hopefully stitch it and at least keep somewhat close to the timeline of the stitch along. We'll see with the holidays coming up. But I'm very excited for this one to come out. I love Disney villains. Really liking how this is turning out so far with the color combos, and really looking forward to some of the villains that are going to be in these spaces. So that is for Mugshot Villains. It's not a pattern, it's not completely Pattern Keeper compatible, so I'm not entirely sure if I have the total stitch count right, but I think it's somewhere around 4,300 that I did in September, and about 6,327 total that's in the frame. So I'm curious to see what ends up, like the stitch count ends up being for the actual each square for the villains and how that's going to come out. But I'm excited for that to come out. I have it all kitted up and I have everything I need, so we'll see how that goes. Okay, next is, move these, Psychedelic Wonderland. I think it's 1. This is, artist is NM Designs, and it's charted by Tilton Crafts. I'm doing this one on 28 count Easy Guide Lugana, 2/110 stitch, and here's where I was the last time I showed the video. This one I think I just picked up for one day and did 139 stitches on it, just because it's easy, like while I'm waiting for dinner to finish or something, just to throw in a few stitches. In total, I am at 3,052 stitches for 3.39%. So I'm a sucker for Alice in Wonderland, for Disney villains, for blues and purples, for creepy crawly, for a lot of things that this just fulfills. Not the Disney villains, but like it fulfills a lot of those categories. So I do like, I'm excited to see some of that clock come into formation and some of the scenery come in and start working on the purples. But this is definitely one I don't pick up often, but I pick it up when I just need an easy stitch, because I'm only working in 939 and it's a lot of the stitches on the outside of the frame. That is Psychedelic Wonderland. Next is one I haven't worked on, I think, in a couple months. I'd originally showed this one that I'd started it on 18 count and done quite a bit on it, and I really didn't like it on 18 count anymore, or doing full cross was the main thing. Full coverage, I really don't think I'll do full cross on full coverage anymore. So this is my restart of the Perfect Love I Never Had. The artist is Adrienne Borda, and it's charted by Unconventional Cross Stitch. My restart is on 25 count Easy Guide Lugana, and I'm doing this one 3/110. Oh, here's where I was at the last video that I showed it a couple months ago. And since I showed it, I have put in an additional 442 stitches for a total of 2,721 stitches at 5.6%. So really just working in the brown up here is the only thing I've done since the last video. So excited to see that one coming together again. Next I have 2 more Halloween themed ones that I'm excited. I think were other ones I was motivated to work on because of the holiday and, October coming. So this one is All Hallows Eve by Joan Elliott Design. I'm stitching this one on 25 count Lugana Brave Boromir, which is another color in my shop. And I'm doing 1/1 full cross. Here's where I was the last time I showed this. I had only done a little bit between the video before that and my last video, and I'd done more than what I had shown, but I was showing like I had to frog a bit, so I wasn't motivated to work on it and finish it again, even because I'd already stitched that. But I picked it up again, and I did an additional 1,780 stitches. And here's where I'm at now. Finish this top section, and then I came down to finish this bird. And then as I started working on the border after the bird, I realized I was off a stitch with the bird, and I had to frog all that. It probably would have been okay, but it was 1 stitch or 1 row too many this way. So this part would have actually touched the frame. And even this on the little loop. And it probably would have been okay once I thought about it afterwards, but I really just wanted it to match on both sides, and I wanted to be able to see that little curly Q separated. So I'm glad I frogged it. I think it looks better this way. Now my dilemma is, on the pattern, this side with the mice is 1 row over from the frame. But on this side on the pattern, it's 2. So I figured no big deal. It's kind of a section on its own. I can just move it over 1. But then I worried, well, then there's this whole alphabet in here. Will I feel like there's too much space between the frame of the mice on this side and the Z? So I'm way overthinking this, and I should just stitch it and deal with it, and I'll be fine. And I'm sure I'll get to that point. I'll probably still do the mice at the bottom here, and then do like the last row last to see how I like it fitting in that space. I feel like if I move the Z over, it would be too in line with the letter that's above it. So I'm way overcomplicating it, and I just need to do it. But these are the things that my brain worries about and why it keeps me from stitching. So that's All Hallows Eve. We'll be working on that in October, I'm sure. My next one is my new start for this month. This is a pattern that was released I think the end of September. No, not end of September, end of August. It was from the Autumn Lane Stitchery Halloween box from last year. And I did get the Halloween box for this year, so I'm curious to see what comes in it this time. But they did release the digital pattern from last year called Tonight We Ride. It's by Autumn Lane Stitchery. And I'm stitching this one on 18 count Ada from my shop. It's called Genuine Jillian. And I stitched a total of 630 stitches for 4.22%. Super easy stitch. Only a few colors. Very Halloween themed, so I'm very excited to stitch more Halloween stuff during October. And then it'll probably go away if I'm not finished with it. I kind of think I love Halloween so much, I will probably have a Halloween stitch going on year round, but probably not multiple. So we'll see which ones I pull out throughout the year if I'm not done by the end of October. So that is it for my whips and for my new starts. I do have a pattern haul. There was a couple of different people I purchased patterns from. One of them I did participate yesterday. Yesterday was October 1st, and several people from the cross stitch community had been talking a couple weeks about making October 1st Witchy Stitcher Day. If you didn't watch my last video or the last couple videos, or you're not part of the Instagram community that knows about Witchy Stitcher, she has shared that she is battling a very rare form of cancer that is not curable but treatable. She's a pattern designer that designs really cool, like dark gothic Halloween, like my vibe kind of patterns. So just to support her and show that as a community we're with her, but also, if you have the opportunity to purchase some of her patterns or even join her Patreon, just to show support for her financially, because I'm sure this time can't be very easy for her physically or financially. I did purchase some more of her patterns. I have several already. If you watch my last video, I finished Apothecary Shop, and that one's going up in my front room for Halloween decorations. And I think I own Stephen King House, and I own like Monster Stitch Along, and several of the houses, and a couple of her other patterns, but there was some I didn't have, so I added to my stash Witch's Brew, and then I also added Poe the Raven, and then Ouija, Never Trust the Living. Big fan of Tim Burton and Beetlejuice, so this actually was one that spoke to me. And then Candy Corn Zombies was kind of a last minute decision. I saw somebody finish this on Instagram and I thought it was super cute. So this one, I think, it kind of made me smile when I saw it. So I was excited to get it, and I think I will stitch this soon. So my heart goes out to you for Witchy Stitcher, and I hope whatever little contribution I made is helping. I know she did post today on Instagram a very special thank you to everyone who's reached out to her and everyone who participated in Witchy Stitcher day yesterday. Just really, really kind and thoughtful, and really appreciative of all of the love and feedback that she's getting. My next set of patterns that I purchased were from Maxine Gadd, from Maxine Gadd Creations, I think is what her full website is. She had some new releases for fall, which are just gorgeous and very fall colors. There were a couple that spoke to me specifically, and when she first released them, she had, I think, 50% off. So if you join her mailing list, you'll get notifications of her new releases and when she's running a sale. These are the two that I purchased. Melody, which there's another one in her shop called, I think, Falling Leaves, and I can't tell the difference between Melody and Falling Leaves. So I think they're similar, or if not the same, and maybe just different stitch counts. But I purchased Melody, and it's very orange and red, and I'm a sucker for like redhead stitches and beautiful looking redheaded women, and in some of the stitching, and all these fall colors are just gorgeous. So I'm excited to start that one. And then I'm also a sucker for Day of the Dead. So I purchased Mexican Halloween, which is another beautiful lady in some very fall colors and very Halloween themed or Day of the Dead themed. So very festive for this time of year. So I'm excited to eventually start that one. I don't know when, we'll see. But they are in my stash for now. There was also, so the next set of patterns was also from a sale. Etsy had something early in September that was like purchase get $5 off a $25 order. So there were a couple of patterns I had in my cart from Owl Forest Embroidery that I decided to purchase. The first is Red and Black Sampler. I love the red and black. I love the color combo, and I like the sampler itself. And then I also purchased Black Vintage Sampler. This is one I had my eye on. It's something that Laura at Stitching by the Shore has been working on, and she shows on her Flosstube channel every once in a while. And I love how it's turning out. So I've been eyeing it for a while, thinking I want that one eventually. So the sale was a perfect time to do that. I also, for a long time, have been wanting to do Owl Forest Embroidery's Alice in Wonderland I don't know if it's called a sampler. It was a stitch along at one point, but it's a free pattern on their website, and they have two different versions. They have a color version, and then they have a tricolor version. So I'm really kind of itching to start a sampler, and I think that's going to be the one that I start. I'm going to do the tricolor version. I ordered a couple of Owl Forest Embroidery threads. I ordered what it called for, but then I also ordered some substitutions. What it calls for in the tricolor is like a brown, like a greenish brown almost, and I think I'm going to substitute it for like a gray and a black variegated thread. So I'm waiting for those to come, hopefully sometime this week, and then I'll add it to my whip pile of the many things I've kitted and want to start and want to work on. But that's actually it for my haul. The last thing I wanted to talk about is in my last video, I did have a giveaway. So you can, for anyone that entered in the comments, I'm giving away a piece of fabric from my store. You can choose any color, any fabric and stitch count. I'll give you a fat quarter of whatever it is that you choose. So the winner of that is, and I'm sorry if I butcher your name, but Adrian Wyble, W-Y-B-L-E. So Adrian, congratulations. If you can actually email me at thosemissingstitches@gmail.com and let me know what color and what fabric piece you would like, I will, and send me your address as well. I'll get that out to you in the next couple weeks. So thank you everybody for joining me for my Flosstube number 10. I really appreciate all the support and all the feedback that I'm getting. I really appreciate this community and all of the success I found in starting my fabric shop in the last few months. It's really been overwhelming in a great way, as I say every video, just because I'm so pleased and I'm so happy with how much I'm seeing out there in the community. I really, really, really enjoy seeing people using the fabric and seeing what they're doing on it. It just makes me giddy. So thank you, everyone. I do have 2 new colors that are coming to the shop probably mid-month. I don't have samples of them right now because I sold them all at the last Stitchy get together. So I will have a red and a green that are more for the Christmas holidays, and I may have a couple other colors I'm going to throw in just for extras. So I will hope to see you next time. Thank you everybody for joining me.